just from falling close to the ground. Perish or try to fight it, parachute now. Last chance, the final moment, parachute now. And deliver us to the ground. I wanna pull the string. On and on, I feel the speed. Too far to break from pressure. Too much to bear.
Welcome everyone to the Chris Parrish podcast. My name is Chris Parrish and I am back. Wait a second, I'm not on my general little thing. There we go. We are back, everyone. How is everybody doing today? As we have a nice little first comment of the day coming from Mark Talks. Thank you so much, buddy. How are you doing today? I hope you are having a great day as well. I am back for the first time in a few weeks. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the last few couple. They were pre-record interviews. Part 2 with Kamikaze, and then last week with the movement expert Nick Hanna, former NFL Europe, and CFL player. Now someone who is helping others become better human beings and functional human beings. Great guy. I hope I can have him back on the show. How is everybody doing? Are we ready for Clash in Paris? I know I am. We're going to talk a little bit about that, but let's get that little stuff that we call housekeeping out of the way. We got to give a big shout out to our sponsor, beercadewhyte. That's right. If you look below the screen, you see all of their socials there. You can follow them on X, Instagram, and Facebook. But if you want to go there in person in the Edmonton, Alberta area, please check them out. Located on 10544 82nd Avenue, as they cover all of the major WWE, AEW, PLE pay-per-views. You'll see me there occasionally having a few adult bevies, having a lot of their great food. It's a great environment, great place. Plus, they have arcade games that you can play as well. It's fun. It's very fun. And I also want to give a shout out to turnbucklestudios.org. That's right. Not only is it the homepage for the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program, but it's now redefined. That's right. We have updated it. We are adding our resume. So if you want to do and come across and work with us, well, there you go. We want to get to know you a little bit more. So fill that out, and then we will get back to you. You can also check out the latest episodic shows. You can also meet everyone who is a part of the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program. So that is something you can see. We got CBRS Entertainment coming in today saying, adult beverages. I said bevies. Do not get my words twisted. I'm a bevy guy. Clash in Paris is today, people. Just a few hours away. You can check out the PLE Patrol, though, later tonight. That's right. We like to keep, let's just say we're sticklers on time. So we like to make sure we're all together so we can enjoy that. That's why we're doing it at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So come check out the PLE Patrol later tonight. We know it's in about an hour or so. If you do watch it, please, no spoilers. We like to enjoy this peacefully. We like to consume our pro wrestling the way it should be, organic and fun. But let's get right to it. Let's get right to the matches, starting off, which is what is believed to start the show, and that is Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed. Big Bronson Reed. We got the owner of the Shulafala going up against the proud owner of the Ulafala. So who do you guys have? I know I actually have Bronson Reed winning. Yeah, that might be a hot take, But let me tell you why I'm picking Big Bronson Reed here. I don't think Roman Reigns needs this win. In fact, I think this goes beyond Roman Reigns. I think it was very telling that we saw Roman Reigns not pick up the pinfall in the tag match when he tagged with his cousin, main event Jey Uso, against Bronson and Braun Breaker. I see the match really going physical. In fact, I even see Braun Breaker getting involved. That's right. I think that this is a tunnel vision towards the Vision actually dominating this PLE. Hence the title of the show, Tunnel Vision, episode 92. Jesus, we're on 92 already. Feels like yesterday where I thought I should do my own thing. But yes, I think this match is going to be a lot of fun. Are we going to get all the hits from Roman Reigns? Absolutely. Are we going to get a banger of an entrance? Absolutely. Have you seen the stage, people? It is beautiful. The Eiffel Tower just making everything pop. It's great. But I think this match really needs Big Bronson Reed to have a defining win under his resume. And I think one against the Tribal Chief, how can you not think that this is going to be monumental for him? That's why I have Big Bronson Reed in this match. Let me know in the comments who you have, because I'm very much wanting to check it out. Next up, we have in a Donnybrook match, Sheamus going against Rusev. And I think this match is going to be an absolute slugfest. I don't think I'm wrong saying that. And I don't think you guys don't think it's going to go anywhere else. So why not just have two men beat the living piss out of each other and us just going, yeah. Not, yeah, that's for later. But just, yeah. I have a hard time picking against Rusev. But I also have a hard time picking Sheamus, because I do feel this is going to be a conclusion of this feud. And because of said conclusion, we need Sheamus to be the winner. So I'm going to go with Sheamus here, even though I really would give the nod to Rusev. I would really like Rusev to win this. But in every good story, we need the good guy coming out on top. So Sheamus, fella, I'm picking you. Next up, we got for the Women's Intercontinental Championship, we got the face of the Divas area, face of Talking Bellas, Talking Divas. We got Nikki Bella going up against the man, the Intercontinental Champion, the self-proclaimed greatest of all time, Becky Lynch. This match, I think, is going to be very intriguing. Very intriguing for many ways. One, I believe this is the first time they've had a one-on-one match in the modern era. I think this is also going to be a very telling match on whether or not we're invested in Nikki Bella moving forward. Now, if there's one thing you could say about Nikki Bella's in-ring performance, she's always brought the physicality. Yeah, between her and her sister, I did always think she was the better performer. But I never really gravitated towards her as a character. But now it seems like there is a completely different side of Nikki Bella, whether or not it's she feels that she is someone that needs to really kick the doors down on redefining who she is in what arguably is the greatest women's division in pro wrestling history. And she's doing it against arguably one of the greatest pro wrestlers in the female division. let alone in the whole company, in Becky Lynch. So it's going to be a testament, I think, to whether or not Nikki Bella, I don't think it's a matter of does she have what it takes. She wouldn't be in the WWE if she didn't have what it took. But I'm very curious to see what Nikki Bella in 2025 can do, because it's not just a regular match. It's a singles match for a championship against one of the best. So the test is large and there's no room for failure. So I'm very intrigued. But I'm going with Becky Lynch retaining her Intercontinental Championship, because I do believe we're going to be watching a Becky Lynch Intercontinental title run that probably takes us into 2026. Next up, we have John Cena versus Logan Paul. And I'm torn because I think Logan Paul is in the middle of taking a test, his biggest test in WWE. Yes, he's had the singles match against Roman Reigns for the undisputed Universal Championship. Yes, he's had main event matches, and he just tagged with Drew McIntyre against Randy Orton and Jelly Roll at SummerSlam. But going up against John Cena and having multiple in-ring segments, that's the true test. Whether or not you want to call him an influencer, whether or not you want to call him a celebrity performer, or not, whether or not you want to call him somebody who's trying to really define what Logan Paul does after YouTube, what he does after the social media stuff, despite him still having his own podcast. That's not different from pro wrestlers. we can draw up a list that even Chris Jericho would be proud of pro wrestlers with podcasts. But Logan Paul doesn't come from wrestling. He comes from the world of social media and influencing. We're absolutely drawn back by his athleticism and the progress he's made ever since his first match and his first time in WWE. But going up against John Cena, you've seen him be humbled on the microphone because, let's face it, John Cena isn't touted as one of the best in the world for no reason. He can make or break you on the microphone. Just ask Roman Reigns. So Logan Paul has the test of tests. Is John Cena the best in-ring performer of our generation? Probably not. But Wayne Gretzky was never the fastest, never had the hardest shot. He was not even the toughest. And he wasn't even a goal scorer. Yet for a long part of time, he led the NHL in goals, and he's still perceived as one of the best to ever do it. John Cena is by far, that in pro wrestling, one of the best to ever do it from a collective standpoint. So Logan Paul, I think the situation goes above whether or not he needs a win. I think it goes well above Logan Paul needing to have a good match. I think people need to see this again after today. If you want to see Logan Paul and John Cena again after this, and you're invested in what they're doing, and Logan Paul raises his game, doesn't have to be to John Cena's level. Not a lot of people have raised their game to John Cena's level. But what Logan Paul needs to do is command the respect. Not because he's a gifted athlete, but because he's a good, all-around complete performer. And if he does that, then everything changes for the Maverick. In terms of prediction, logic says John Cena, but I'd like to see Logan Paul. And I say that because I don't think John Cena needs to win a match again in his career. Next up, we have the WWE Tag Team Championships. We have the champions, the Wyatt Six, taking on the Street Profits. Street Profits want the smoke. The Wyatt Six, they want everything else. Ever since the Wyatt Six came back to the WWE and formed, we've had some peaks, we've had some lows. Whether or not we've seen a lot of things done with them or not a lot of things done with them. They removed over brands and now they became your tag team champions in Joe Gacy and Dexter Lumis. They retained their championships in an amazing TLC match at SummerSlam and really was a testament of how good this division is. But among that great division, another standout, another standard in that tag division have been Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford, a.k.a. the Street Profits. And there's something about the addition of bringing back BFAB into the trio that I think just fits. Now we saw on Friday, Bo Dallas gone in the head of Montez Ford, almost alluding to a potential split between Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford. Now, I think a lot of us have remembered those rumors years back of Street Profits splitting up to give Montez Ford a quote-unquote singles push or singles run. But they're stuck with this as a tag team act, and I'd love to see it. And I think somebody bringing a possible division into the Street Profits really helps the casual viewer just think whether or not they want to see the team more in bigger roles. I think the Street Profits have had an amazing 2025. And I wanted them to become the tag team champions in TLC. But there's something intriguing with the Wyatt Six as your tag team champions. So despite my heart wanting Street Profits to reclaim their championship, because I do feel they haven't been given the opportunity long enough to really establish themselves, they still always manage to put themselves in that conversation. But there's something about the Wyatt Six as tag team champions that just makes this tag team division run differently. And for that reason, Wyatt Six are my prediction to walk out of Patty France, your WWE Tag Team Champions. Next up, we got the main event, a fatal four-way for the World Heavyweight Championship. As a leader of the division, Seth Rollins defends his championship against not one, not two, but three people. Main event, Jey Uso, the straight edge superstar CM Punk, and the megastar with everybody saying, you said it, didn't you? Yeah, LA Knight. This match has chaos written all over it. And I think what we're going to see is just that, and we should. I think there's going to be a time in the match where we see LA Knight just about have it. I think there's a time in this match where we think CM Punk just about has it. And I even think there's a time in this match Jey Uso makes you believe he's going to become a two-time World Heavyweight Champion. But if I'm painting you a picture and say the Vision takes out Roman Reigns earlier in this match, why can't they make their presence felt in the main event? Yeah, we can see Braun, we can see Bronson come down and take out 2 members in this match. Say Bronson Reed beats Roman Reigns up so much that he then puts his focus on LA Knight. Braun Breaker can go after Jey Uso or even CM Punk. That leaves one-on-one with Seth Rollins. And yes, Seth Rollins now has a split odds, right? But the Vision is not about 50-50. And that is why I think the big story coming out tonight is that the Vision from the Way of the Oracle, who is Paul Heyman, reveal a 4th member in their group, and that would be a returning Ilya Dragunov, who helps Seth Rollins retain his World Heavyweight Championship. And tomorrow night, we're talking about 4 members of the Vision. And now we can look towards Survivor Series. We can now look to the future. Because the Vision themselves represent the future. So all in all, that is my Clash in Patty predictions. In the chat, please let me know your thoughts. What do you think is the match you're most looking forward to? What is the moment you're most looking forward to? Do you have any hot takes from this show? And let's just flat out ask, are you even intrigued with it? Turnbuckle Studios and Turnbuckle Affiliation Program, they bring you the PLE Patrol later tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. But they also bring to you a weekly amount of videos. So let's check out the 2025 weekly calendar to let you know just what that is. Along with a video letting you know more about what you can do to be a part of our program.
Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program bring you the week of streams. Monday nights you get the Locker Room Breakdown at 7 p.m. Eastern, followed by the Raw Patrol at 8 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday brings you the flagship show, Turnbuckle Talk, at 8:05 p.m. Eastern. Wednesday we play games with the PlayStation Showcase at 8 p.m. Eastern. Thursday we go TNA when we brace for Impact at 7:55 p.m. Eastern. Friday we secure all details as we answer the call for the SmackDown security detail at 8 p.m. Eastern. The weekend brings you Saturday Night Gaming at 8 p.m. Eastern. On Sundays be sure to catch the Chris Parrish podcast at 12:15 p.m. Eastern, followed by the Boar's Nest at 8 p.m. Eastern. Be part of the shows and join the chat every day.
A Turnbuckle Affiliation program is looking for more people. If you have passion level for pro wrestling, sports, video games, or something else, then Turnbuckle Studios is the place to be. If you have ever wanted to pursue content creation and want to join our team, then we would love to have you. Check out turnbucklestudios.org or contact us by email today, because your future is now, and we want you to tap in.
Once again, everybody, that website is turnbucklestudios.org. You can check that out. It is freshly designed. And then it adds a little more to it. So when you're taking a roll down, whether or not it's Turnbuckle Studios or even the Redbubble page itself, carlcarafel.redbubble.com, where you can go and check out all of the merchandise that you can get with all the logos from the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program. And if you want to help support the show, that's a great way of doing it. You can also do that and support the Chris Bears podcast by follow, like, and subscribe, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, Instagram, Spotify, all the platforms that my link tree down in the corner provides you. That'd be a great way. We all know we can't do this by ourselves. I can't believe we're here at episode 92, just like I can't believe we're here talking about the possibility that Chris Jericho might return to the WWE. That's right. One of the biggest stories in the past couple weeks is that the AEW contract of Chris Jericho ends in December of 2025, which is only a few months away. And the rumor of Chris Jericho surprising the world with a quote-unquote surprise appearance at the 2026 Royal Rumble has been heavily pursued online. Now, I don't know if Chris Jericho and the WWE will be a thing again. I don't know if it's going to be from the Royal Rumble, if it is. But a lot of people who know me know that when I started performing, Chris Jericho was a heavy influence in my life, in my wrestling career. One of my all-time favorite matches was Chris Jericho versus Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 19. I would love to see Chris Jericho back. One of my biggest wants is to listen to Break the Walls Down live one more time. Something that previous guest from the Chris Bears podcast, LJ, and I once have recently discussed. I don't know what I would do in terms of how I would use Chris Jericho, but I know I would love to see him with some of the more modern acts. Like, what a throwback it would be if, say, WWE does a draft and you have Grayson Waller do the Grayson Waller effect, only to find out that the newest member of the Raw roster is, and Chris Jericho comes out. And this time Chris Jericho is on the other side. Who wouldn't want a Grayson Waller Chris Jericho match? That could be a lot of fun. Those segments could be very interesting. Highlight reel versus Grayson Waller effect. It would go hand in hand in my eyes. But then I can look at NXT and I can look at their North American champion in Ethan Page. I would love to see that match. I would love to see that interaction. And then you got acts like John Cena. If Chris Jericho somehow was in WWE in 2025, you could still have that one last interaction. Guys like CM Punk, Randy Orton, R-Truth, some of the acts that who were there the last time Chris Jericho was. Just seeing Chris Jericho and Triple H doing business again. That would be pretty surreal, wouldn't it? Now, I'll be the first one to say Chris Jericho in 2025 is far removed from the Chris Jericho of 2005, even 2015. But there's something about the energy, the charisma, that I still believe has a place in professional wrestling. His podcast does a great job of helping you find more things out, whether it's about, music, performers, wrestlers, anything. And just imagine Talk is Jericho in the lineup that WWE has for all of their shows. Who wouldn't want to listen to Chris Jericho on the Cody Rhodes' podcast? And they just talk about how AEW really came to be, or have that on Talk is Jericho. With Stephanie McMahon, what's your story? How awesome would it be if Chris Jericho was on it and they relived the magic that they had in the late 90s, early 2000 era? There's just so much that can be done still. And I think ultimately this is something that the fans all want, whether or not you want to see Chris Jericho in the ring or not. I think we can all admit that we'd love to see him in the WWE Hall of Fame. And I think that's something, whether or not Chris Jericho himself wants it or not. He's said interviews where he said it doesn't matter. He said it, it's something for the fans. But I'm pretty sure the fans would like to see that. Plus, how much fun would it be to get, whether it's one more time Y2J, whether it's one more time a Jerichoholic t-shirt. And here's the thing, to my chagrin, or whatever you want to say, to my disappointment, we'll say, Chris Jericho could come back and not use Break the Walls Down. He very well could use something else, like maybe his current theme he's using in AEW. But as we speculate of what may or may not happen, we can't argue that AEW would not be where it was if it didn't bring in somebody like Chris Jericho. Now, Chris Jericho, again, I'll say, is far removed from the best in-ring performer in AEW. But the impact he made was absolutely just you cannot replace that or duplicate it, because if it wasn't for Chris Jericho, I don't know if AEW gets off the ground the way it does. Also, just imagine if Chris Jericho crossed the lines, signed with WWE, and then went to TNA. Man, Chris Jericho and Joe Hendry, we could see it. I think we just live in a world where pro wrestling, it's one of the most surreal things in the world again. So I'm going to be optimistic because I'll be full out honest. You guys know I do a lot of WWE and mainly WWE content. That's because it's what I watch. It's not because I don't dislike anything else. I just don't have time to watch everything. There's something about Chris Jericho not being in WWE that bums me out, but at the same time, I think it'd be very, very surreal to see that iconic pose from the stage in a WWE ring, whether it's 2025 or 2026. Because who doesn't remember that pose in 1999? 26 years ago. Amazing. What else is there in the world of pro wrestling that, we need to cover? It's been a few weeks, people. Raw and SmackDown have been absolutely fantastic. One thing that I will say is just to kind of let everybody know, I will not be covering NXT No Mercy on the 27th of September. Normally, I've been doing watch parties for NXT. Obviously, I did not do one for the last one because I was not on ground. I was on a plane pretty much all day. I will be at TNA's Victory Road that day. So, unfortunately, I will be out of commission. Now, I believe, speaking of TNA, Bubba Duke will be doing a Victory Road watch party. And I'm not too sure if there will be anything else done, but we'll let you know. I just want to be honest and let you guys know that I will not be doing an NXT No Mercy watch party, but I will be getting back to covering more NXT in the future. That is something that I'm very passionate and wanting to do. So, but just giving everyone an update on that. Speaking of which, what are your guys' opinions about Ash by Elegance beating JC Jane and becoming the new Knockouts champion? You like the idea? Do you wish it was Masha Slamovich getting her championship back? I don't know. All I know is you need to make more stars in that division. And by doing so, championships really do help that perception. So whether or not it's Ash by Elegance, Masha, somebody else, it really puts a huge spotlight on Ash by Elegance and that Knockouts championship. Also gives her the distinction of bringing that championship back. Something that we're still waiting for the TNA world title. Santana has that opportunity coming up, and it's going to be very intriguing to see if he is able to beat Trick Williams and bring back that TNA world title. I'm not going to lie. I kind of want to see Trick Williams live. So I kind of want to see him retain the title. And if Santana wants to win in Victory Road, I'm okay with it because that means I get to see the moment. And selfishly, I'm okay. I'd be okay saying that. One more storyline that I do want to talk about is just the suddenness of just a few weeks ago. We're talking about Bayley. We're talking about Lyra. We're talking about, War Raiders in the tag division. And it seems like there's always been this revolving door in wrestling about using people and then not. What I will say about that, because I see a lot of people, whether it's post things about how they're not being used right, anything like that, I'll be the first one to tell you that I'm not a big fan of when I show up and we're told, we don't have much for you. As somebody who likes to really use creativity and I need an outlet to show that, it's not fun. However, with WWE, you're doing this every week. You're doing it almost every day. You're doing this so often that it's a great way to hit that refresh button, and also a great way to kind of make the people want you again, because it's so easy to be consumed. The one thing that I would like to see on my show, on my programming a little bit more, is if you're not going to do a match with said person, have a nice segment backstage. I'm all well and good with the odd comedy stuff, but not at the expense of not using somebody else at all. I think somebody like Bayley and Lyra Valkyria are two of the best performers, let alone female performers in WWE. And I'm very intrigued with what they're doing with Bayley, the direction that they're going to go. But I'm also worried with Lyra. She made you believe when she was going after the Queen of the Ring, where she ultimately lost against Nia Jax. She made you believe when she became the first ever inaugural Intercontinental Champion. I think one of the amazing opportunities we have right now is something that just seems unknown, and that is the status of the women's world title. There seems to be two people that don't have anything going on. Lyra Valkyria, Stephanie Fakir. Just put them in the ring and let them absolutely have a match that will tear the house down. And I say, if we tune into Clash in Paris and it just becomes official, Lyra Valkyria versus Stephanie Fakir for the vacant championship, I'm okay with it. Because I don't think you need to wait for somebody to have a story that's finished. I don't think you have to wait for a big signing, somebody to be cleared. Just give the people a match. Because the more we wait to see what they're doing, the more time you're giving us time to almost lose interest in this whole thing. And I just... going from whether or not it's an act that disappears or a championship that kind of disappears, the longer that you wait, the more time you give your audience time to stop caring. Now, it can go the other way. I get it. But when you're on a position like maybe Lyra is, like that women's title is, maybe even like the War Raiders, where that TV time and those feuds, those matches, they're instrumental. Whether or not it's getting to that status, getting to that next level. The stop and start, the here or I'm not, that doesn't work well in the long term. So I just ask, just give me more. Also, shout out for the decision of making both men and women's speed titles now a part of NXT. With the 3-minute matches, I do feel like it adds something different to the show. I'm not going to lie. I kind of hope that it just replaces the Heritage Cup. There's just something about the Heritage Cup now. I just feel like it doesn't gel in the modern show. But the speed titles now, I think they do. I think they gel and I think they add. And this allows for a lot more people to get opportunities. So I like that. I'm very concerned, though. Very concerned. If we see these speed titles in NXT, that they overshadow other championships. Because now you have 3 single men and 3 single women championships. When you count the NXT Championship, the NXT Women's Championship, the North American Championships, and then now the Speeds. Those are 3 separate individual championships mixed in with tag titles. You now have 7 titles on a 2-hour show. It's a little much, and I really hope they do a great job on separating everything, but also, one week it's maybe 2, another week it's maybe a different combination of 2. Obviously, you got to keep your NXT title, the women's title, the big title on almost every show. I think now you just got to get a little bit more of a balance here. And that's my concern, is that maybe one is going to overshadow another and we stop caring as much about something, because I've loved the way the North American Championships have been perceived. I think Ethan Page is maybe one of the best acts alongside with Chelsea Green right now in NXT. So I want to see that still every week. But if we're going to introduce the speed titles, then I would like it to being a little different. And I do think if you're going to make it on NXT every week, you have to separate the titles from Sol Ruca at some point. And I think that is just something that needs to happen almost as soon as you possibly can, because the longer she is a double singles champion, I feel you're going to really take away from the tag team. And if you do tag team stuff, you're taking away her as champion. And because of that, I think you're doing both titles she carries a disservice if she's not defending them. So I'd love to see either one of those titles taken off her, maybe even both. But I want to see some activity with Sol Ruca and those championships. And that is something that I would be very, very much concerned about, just whether or not those titles are going to be something we care about in 5-6 months' time. And that means right now, El Grande Americano is NXT. So yeah, very curious. I think what I'm going to start doing now every week is I'm going to give shout outs to 3 people who I think maybe could use a little bit more of a, respect in terms of how I, as a viewer, think about them. And the first one that jumps on my list is Raquel Rodriguez. I think the work Raquel Rodriguez has been doing over the last year, ever since she's come back, there's been that, are you kind of like a heater to Liv Morgan? Are you kind of like a Diesel to the Shawn Michaels? Kind of where does this stand? And then you see the tag team being reformed with Liv. And you're seeing some of the matches they have, especially the match where they won the tag titles from Bianca and Jade. And it was just, or from Naomi and Bianca, sorry. And it was just fantastic. You started really seeing this tag team completely take it to the next level. And then Liv Morgan gets hurt. And the introduction of Roxanne Perez not only into the Judgment Day, but really into that tag team spot. You're now wondering how this is going to work. And as much as I've said positive things about Roxanne Perez and how she doesn't look like she's a newbie on the roster, she looks like she just hit the floor running. I think a lot has to do with the mainstay of Raquel Rodriguez and just how she's able to keep that chemistry and keep those performances out every single time, whether it's individual matches with Rhea Ripley, whether it's independent matches with other people, or back in the tag team, whether it's Liv or whether it's Roxanne. You're getting consistency and you're getting absolute, just amazing matches from Raquel Rodriguez. And I think this has definitely been a coming out party for Raquel Rodriguez in 2025. And I definitely think that deserves a huge shout out. Another big shout out that I think we need to be talking about that maybe we're not talking as much about. And I'm going to go straight into SmackDown here, because it is absolutely insane to me just how impressive the babyface Charlotte Flair run has been. The pairing of her and Alexa Bliss has worked. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to see them as tag champions or not, but I just know the story that they had was something that I was drawn to. And them as champions hasn't been something like when they got together. But watching them discover whether or not they're friends, now they're kind of are friends, but how really much of friends are they? I think has been fun to watch, but seeing Charlotte kind of bring her guard down a little bit and not be so, egotistical in a character standpoint, not being so protected in almost like a self-imagery role from that. And I got that a lot from her character, not from the human being, just from the character. Just seeing Charlotte have a little bit more fun, playing a little bit more jokes, lightening up. It's been really entertaining, really fun to watch. And now I'm feeling more pro Charlotte than I've been in a while. And I think that's a very good thing. And a third one, I'm going to give out a shout out to someone that I think it's been clearly obvious that in the last year, this performer has, always stepped his game up in NXT. He came into WWE and it was like, whoa. And then all of a sudden he become NXT champion. Then all of a sudden he's doing things with Joe Hendry. He's doing things in TNA. He's doing things WWE on the NXT level. But then he recently wins the North American Championship. And I'll say it as a Canadian, that is one of the most hideous straps I've ever seen on a championship. But turning it into something completely larger, almost redefining what he's doing. Ethan Page, I think, has proven, I think he has outgrown NXT, and then he needs to be on a SmackDown. He needs to be on a Raw. He needs to be an every week performer on Netflix, whether it's in Canada or on the CW in the United States. Ethan Page, I believe, is a future United States or Intercontinental Champion in 2026, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. The relationship he has with Chelsea Green and that pairing makes sense, even though it was so unexpected. But right now, it just works, and almost seeing Chelsea Green not with a championship just seems a little it seems like a disservice, because I would love to see Ethan Page move up to SmackDown, relinquish his North American Championship for a United States match. I would love to see Ethan Page defeat Sami Zayn. I then want to see Chelsea Green reclaim her United States Championship. And now we have two Canadians as United States champions. And then you can have the Secret Herberts become your new tag team champions. And now that is a congregation I want to see. But with all that being said, we are phasing to the end here of episode 92, Tunnel Vision. So one last time, I'll be playing to you the calendar and the Help Wanted ad. So check these out.
Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program bring you the week of streams. Monday nights you get the Locker Room Breakdown at 7 p.m. Eastern, followed by the Raw Patrol at 8 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday brings you the flagship show, Turnbuckle Talk, at 8:05 p.m. Eastern. Wednesday we play games with the PlayStation Showcase at 8 p.m. Eastern. Thursday we go TNA when we brace for Impact at 7:55 p.m. Eastern. Friday we secure all details as we answer the call for the SmackDown security detail at 8 p.m. Eastern. The weekend brings you Saturday Night Gaming at 8 p.m. Eastern. On Sundays be sure to catch the Chris Parrish podcast at 12:15 p.m. Eastern, followed by the Boar's Nest at 8 p.m. Eastern. Be part of the shows and join the chat every day.
A Turnbuckle Affiliation program is looking for more people. If you have passion level for pro wrestling, sports, videos, games, or something else, then Turnbuckle Studios is the place to be. If you have ever wanted to pursue content creation and want to join our team, then we would love to have you. Check out turnbucklestudios.org or contact us by email today, because your future is now, and we want you to tap in.
This concludes episode 92 Tunnel Vision, but I want to make sure everybody knows that I'm looking forward to next week for episode 93 called Survival Mode. That's right. After today's clash in Paris, we are now on the road to Survivor Series. Yes, I know there's our other stops along the way, but we know Survivor Series is the last of the big 4 PLEs in WWE. And now we all must be in survival mode. So that comes to you next Sunday at 12:15 p.m. Eastern Time. I want to take this time again to say thank you. It's been a few weeks and I missed you. This has been a lot of fun and I can't wait to continue this as we are just a few episodes away from episode 100. If you want to help support myself and the channel, please go check out my link tree. Hit a like, hit a follow, hit a subscribe to all that. If you're on YouTube, please hit that notification bell just to alert yourself every time that I do go live. You're going to also be able to see this show on TikTok. So please check out that if you missed it in any way. And please hit a like, rate the episode on Spotify. That'd be so great. For myself, I am Chris Parrish. You were watching episode 92, Tunnel Vision. I conclude saying, be happy, be healthy, be yourself, because at the end of the day, you matter. We'll see you next week.
Rip through the clouds, faster, catch us from